And welcome to the September 27th edition of Hamilton Talks. I am Larry Di Ianni, and Hamilton Talks is a community affairs program that talks to prominent Hamiltonians, and sometimes Hamiltonians who may not be as well known, but also have a story to tell and are moving our community forward. And this evening, it's my great pleasure to welcome back into the program Bob Asadoorian. And Bob is making his second appearance on Hamilton Talks. He's a handyman, an expert home renovator, having spent 10 years in construction, learning all aspects of home construction and repair. What distinguishes Bob as a home repairman is his ability not only to get the job done, but to teach others how to do it themselves. He's as much a consumer advocate for his industry as he is an expert renovator. It was this passion and talent to communicate that also led to his varied career as a home improvement contractor, columnist, co-author, book publisher, radio and television show host, volunteer with the City of Hamilton, and a trade license examiner. We are very pleased to have Bobby Asadoorian here, and we're going to just ask Bob one more time. Bob, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Bob, you know what? You really need no introduction to our guests because you have your own show on this very station. But just in case someone is catching you for the first time, remind people what it is you do for a living.
I'm a contractor, first and foremost, a general contractor. Very, very fortunate to be a community television volunteer with Cable 14. Every Monday, 4:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m., the Just Ask Bob Home Improvement Show, where I motivate homeowners, as I say in the opening of every show, to get up and get off the couch and start tackling their own to-do lists around the home. Repeats on the weekends. It's a teaching show, Larry. It's very important that, and I say it many times on the show, to cut out the overcharging contractor, cut him out of the equation. An often crooked contractor, as I say on the opening of the show. Teach people to do it themselves.
All right. And we're going to talk about some of those controversial statements that you're making. But I also want to remind people that, of course, you're a Hamiltonian who was raised not very far from here on Wellington
Victoria.
And Victoria.
Oh, Cannon, Victoria.
Cannon and
Near
Victoria.
The corner, Cannon, Victoria.
Right. So tell us what it was like growing up on Cannon and Victoria when you were a young man.
It was very different. I mean, a lot of publicity now in The Spectator about rental units. We can almost tie that in. That didn't exist back then. Everybody owned their homes. Everybody took care of their homes. It's unfortunate now. My father's passed away. I've been married. My brother's married. We have our own homes, not too far from my mom. My mom's still there. She just went to Greece for 3 months this year. But the problem is not as much back then. I mean, it was just everybody owning their homes, and now everybody renting in the neighborhood, again, really changes it. So it's changed a lot. Tenants in the neighborhood, sometimes illegal tenants, illegal tenant dwellings. It's not easy. But back then I remember the parking lot, I mean now it's the Shoppers Drug Mart, used to be a Mr. Grocer in that parking lot and the one across the street from it playing ball hockey. And at that time when the lights would go out, my mom would be always screaming out the window, Bobby, Bobby. So at that time I knew to go home. Now I have two boys, age 7 and 5, and it's very different. Very, very, times have changed a lot since growing up on Cannon, Victoria.
And of course you've mentioned, Bobby, that you're of Greek background.
Yes.
And there's a very proud Greek community here in the city with a couple of churches, one on the mountain, one below the mountain, not too far from here. How was it growing up as a young Greek Canadian in the city of Hamilton?
Well, it kept me back in grade 1. That was just prior to going into grade 1, it was, again, all our families back in Greece. So July and August, my mom would take us, my dad would stay here. Like he'd say, somebody had to stay and work 7 days a week in order to, he does maintenance at the HSR, in order to pay for the trip to send us to Greece. So at that time, I remember I had a lot of difficulty with communication and English, absorbing it. So they kept me back a year in grade 1. So that's a negative there, but a lot of positive. The food, phenomenal. The culture, everybody knows me, from the good staff here at Cable 14 that have been to my home, or business associates or whatnot, contacts, homeowners that I'll take out for meals, or even bring treats. People know me as the guy bringing the baklava and the kadaifi. My mom loves to bake. I bring it into their homes.
Oh, right.
I love that. To eat and drink. I mean, same with Italian. To eat and to drink. And my wife's Italian. The same. You know what it is. Lots of food. Lots of food.
Una faccia?
Mia razza.
Una razza. One face, one race.
Yes, yes.
The Italians and the Greeks.
Yes.
Well, Bobby, let's chat a little bit about some of the controversial statements that you do make.
Yes,
You're
indeed.
very hard on some of the contractors that are out there in the
Yes.
industry. In fact, you've gone so far as to use the word crooked
Yes.
to describe
Yes.
some of the practices that they employ. Why are you so tough on them?
Well, because I am one. And I try to explain to people, being a contractor allows me to criticize contractors. I believe I have that right, and it's what I see. Now, I can always back up what I say. That's very important. People that know me know my reputation's impeccable. Now, I've gained some credentials over the years, or some feathers in my cap, so to speak, which helped me in backing this up. About a year ago, John Lane, top official, City of Hamilton, Building Division, he contacted me and offered me a seat on the board of the trade license examinations. Now, I mean, I was shaken up. I was astounded. I remember nearly 10 years ago taking that exam, sweating through it, wanting nothing to be done with it. And now I'm going to be teaching it, administering it, students putting up their hands, me helping out with it. Now, that's given me a very, very special insight into what goes on. And Larry, it's amazing what goes on. Even before that, I had my own studies in 2009 that I did before doing the Just Ask Bob show for Astro Media on 820, back when it was talk show radio. At that time, and it's still the same now, 85% of whoever you hire, whether it's the handyman, the bum, the guy you pick out of Tim Hortons at 4 in the morning, or the so-called contractor, 85% in Hamilton do not have a master building repair license. Like we talked before, the province regulates the electricians, the gas fitters, the plumbers, but they're only doing one aspect in your home. We're doing a multitude of aspects: the roof, the kitchen, the garage door, the floor, the railing, the painting, the drywall, but we're not respected by the province. They've left it to the municipality. Hamilton calls it the master building repair, and Hamilton does indeed protect its citizens, homeowners, by having that. Brantford has it, Oakville skips it, Burlington skips it, Toronto calls it the renovator's license. So it's all over the place throughout the municipalities in Ontario. So now by sitting on this board, what I've seen, what I've learned, it's astounding. It turns out that summertime, like the city can only do what they can do. It's amazing. I'm on job sites. I have the stickers on my truck. I have the lawn sign. I get annoyed by building officials or by the Ministry of Labor popping by. Hey, have you got a license, or you're working safe? But the criminal element, the 85%, they'll show up in a minivan or a sedan. They don't have the lettering. They don't put the lawn sign proudly in the lawn. They're getting away with it. So in the summertime, the city hires students to go through Kijiji or to go through the Spectator. They're all there in the classifieds. Those little ads, I absolutely guarantee you they don't have a license. These are fellas that are just going out doing what they can do. So the city brings on students. They call these people or find them. Then they run their name by the database. So they find out they're not licensed. City will send out a letter asking them politely, get in, write your exam, get your license, and we won't fine you this time. So sometimes, Larry, when there's a room full of students, they're not like me back 10 years ago. When I just want to start a business, I call the city, what requirements, what's involved, I go write my test. The room is packed. The classroom is full of the guys that have been caught. So they're forced to come in. So what I see, Larry, it's amazing, but if we can put a small spin on it, I feel comfortable enough with you to share something that I've never shared with the media before. And I promised my wife we're going to mix it up here a little bit today. In the media, and as you just mentioned, the attack on contractors, that's fine. And why? Because they deserve it, or so-called contractors, or even contractors. But the problem now, if we can put a spin on it, is homeowners. That's a very careful area. I mean, I watch what I say in regards to homeowners, whether it's in print with the Spectator or on television. But when I was interviewed by you some time ago, I'm very careful. Anybody calling the office, I need to know how they found me. So many people, I mean, it wasn't a great deal, but it wasn't a small amount either. They'd become aware of me through Hamilton Talks. And as we're getting into the in and outs of what's the renovation, what's going on, they'll happen to mention, oh, and we want to pay cash. Or, we don't want a city official in here. You don't want them looking at wiring, other things in the home. So I shouldn't be, but I'm astounded to some level. They found me from your show. We talked a lot about the cash underground industry, 5% versus 13 HST. Here they are offering me cash. Two of them I can remember. Two of them I somehow, used some charm or some evidence there to back things up, and I spun them around my way. They paid the HST. I've got the invoice at the office. We did it properly. The rest of them I didn't work for. Somebody must have. So how do you address the problem? Now, the city has this issue. Homeowners that specifically hunt out contractors or wannabes that are not going to charge the tax. They're not going to have a license. They're not going to have WSIB. They're not going to have insurance. So there is a great deal of homeowners, whether it's something small, poor workmanship, right to an injury, right to the deposit being stolen, Some of these Hamilton homeowners are getting exactly what they deserve.
Okay, so you've mentioned a whole bunch of things there. I want to pick up on some of them.
Yes.
First of all, the homeowner. So this summer I had my deck stained.
Actually, the driveway. Could you bring up the driveway? I remember your driveway.
Okay. The driveway as well. But let me just tell you about the deck.
Okay.
My wife wanted the deck done. I said, I think I'll do it this year. She said, you'll never get around to it. I'll find somebody. So she went to the newspaper and she found somebody.
Okay.
I'm sure. I didn't even ask whether the fellow was licensed.
That was after you interviewed me.
Oh yes, this was just this past summer. That was just this past summer.
Okay.
So he came, introduced me. He gave me a quote. I liked the quote. Paid by check, by the way.
Tax?
I gave him a check. I'm assuming he would have included the taxes there. But I didn't check him out. Now, it was just a deck.
But everything was nice. I mean, it worked out.
It worked out okay.
My problem is when it works out for luck's sake and not for planning.
But that's the issue.
You were lucky. You were lucky.
All right, but that's the issue.
Okay.
So how is a homeowner supposed to sift through the individuals that might be available to know who's going to work out and who's not?
Very easy. Besides reading my book, very easy. 546 City. You pay your taxes, and a lot at times, 546 City. The very first phone call, before even thinking of calling over a contractor. In your case, you would have told them, you want the deck stained or a deck built or a bathroom done, whatever it is. The city will explain to you. The contractor requires a master building repair license. That job may need a permit if it's a basement. That may need the Electric Safety Authority to come in and look at wiring. The city will very easily tell you this. So now you know, not only has the city told you this, but you can run the names of the prospective contractors by the city to make sure they have the license. So I feel, again, easy. 546 City, get the gist of it. Then bring in the contractors, take them for their word for the moment, call the city afterwards, eliminate the liars and the crooks immediately. Many, many will tell you, and I've been going through this now for a month and a half. For some reason, I'm quoting basements nonstop. And I really follow up. Larry, the gift with the gab doesn't stop with the homeowners, believe me. I tell them, I don't even care if it's me you hire. Follow up. I mean, I'll be there for you. They'll call me back and say, Bob, you're the only one out of the 4 that says we need a permit to remodel the basement. I say, wow, what are the others telling you? They're saying our home came with a basement, so we don't need a permit. Every home has a basement. I tell them again, don't take it from me. Call the city. So now you've got 4 contractors. From what the city tells you, a permit's needed, eliminate the 3 liars. Then whoever you're left with, whether 1 or the 2 or whatnot, at the same time with the city, do these contractors have a license? Process of elimination, and it doesn't work for the lazy homeowners. You've got to call 7, 8 contractors in to get it down to 2 or 3 that are licensed. So you really have to make these calls, but it's the knowledge. 546 City, you can't go wrong.
And how important is it to ask for reference?
The references are absolutely critical. Again, just yesterday, I'm in Ancaster. I leave my references, my package with a homeowner, and I asked them what I've been asking every homeowner for 10 years. Has any other contractor been here during the very initial meeting, leave you a cover letter from the city with the licenses, WSIB cover letter, liability insurance cover letter, 12, 15 references, and a couple of newspaper clippings in it. It's my package, my introductory package. Everybody, hands down, 10 years has said, we've never seen this. Absolutely never seen it. That's how bad it is. No homeowner has ever seen a package like that. So they'll tell me, well, we've asked contractors for references, and some will cite confidentiality. Others will say, once we're awarded the job, we'll give you some references. I've heard everything. And others will give 2 or 3, and it's their friends. So, I mean, you want 10 to weed that through.
All right, so let me play devil's advocate
Please.
For a second, because, I mean, if somebody says, give me cash, usually it's less than if they say pay by check and I have to add HST.
It used to be 5, now it's 13.
It's 13%.
Big savings.
So the question to you is this. I mean, I understand that they're scamming the government. It's part of the sort of underground market, as it were. None of that is good.
But how can it affect the workmanship, maybe?
And, the 2 questions.
Yeah.
So how does it affect the workmanship?
Okay.
And how do you stay competitive? People like you who have to...
By being here today.
Okay.
By being the
so
media.
talk about that.
Okay, yes. Hit the nail on the head there twice. I'm a good carpenter. Now, okay, now about the cash. It's like taking a barrel and just scraping and scraping, getting the bottom of the barrel worth of a contractor. That's what you're getting. For one moment, totally throw it out the window about tax evasion, government, you know, all of that. Forget that. That's for Revenue Canada. Let's simply talk about how does it affect the job. Well, number one, this contractor, I almost guarantee you, doesn't have a trade license. What is the trade license? It's a 2-hour exam on the Ontario Building Code. You have to know that home from foundation to roof and pass a 70% pass. You won't even get the chance to write the exam without a police clearance. So imagine who you're weeding out now. So this guy doing cash doesn't have the license. So who knows how many convictions he has? Who knows what he is? He hasn't studied in the building code. There's no proof for that. You are getting the bottom of the barrel. You're not getting a true businessman or even a true tradesman. So forget completely about the tax part there. Now, if there's issues, the homeowner now, and this is the problem the city has, very, very few homeowners complain when they've been ripped off or this happens, or the city inspectors will immediately say, why didn't you call us in the beginning, midway through as the disaster was happening? Why 6 months later? Well, the homeowner's worried too. They're involved in this shady ordeal now. And of course, you can barely track them because, again, cash means no paper. So there's not going to be, it's usually prepaid cell phones they throw away after. Where's the trail? Where do you find this person after? What if he takes part of that cash as a deposit and he insists, you know, I have to pick up the supplies, materials? You never see him again. So you're really not getting a good caliber, a good quality job. What if he pretends he hurt his back and wants to go through your homeowner's insurance? Even as contractors, in the eyes of the insurance industry, I'm a guest in your home. You are ultimately responsible for me injuring myself or pretending that I've been injured. You're responsible if I drop a ladder or the drywall falls on your $5,000 plasma television. You're responsible for all of that, to the point of seeing a certificate from WSIB or seeing a certificate of insurance. That totally alleviates you. That means it's on the contractor. So that's that part of it. Now, how do I compete? Not easy, Larry. In this business, those that try to be honest and have integrity, this is the most disgusting business I've ever been in. That's why I love being in a suit when I'm involved in these affairs, because I like to say I can fit in one and I can wear one. I mean, I have some pride with that because of who I am and what I do. Now, the problem is, how do I compete? Most contractors starting up this specific type of business, 70-75% are bankrupt. They're out the first year. The second year, it's a little less. If you've made it 3 years, you'll make it. How do I compete? I learned a long time ago in 2006 to be very nice to the media. I learned a long time ago to be special, to community volunteer, to get involved with the March of Dimes, to do different things, to stand out and above. This, the media, that is how I compete. Before the HST, when it was GST, I was 5% more expensive than the so-called underground economy. Now I'm 13% more. And to be honest with you, it's probably 55% more, because the old saying goes, I mean, if it's $10,000 on the books, contractors obviously think a couple of thousand of that goes to the government. You lose more when you're taxed, your tax bracket. So if it's $10,000 on the books, the cash guy, it's not supposed to be 13% less. It could be 55% less, because remember, he takes that in cash, he puts it in his pocket. He's still getting his high baby bonus. He's still getting his family supplements. It doesn't affect anything. So I am possibly, not just me, the legitimate contractors are possibly 50-55% in Hamilton more expensive than the underground. But again, you get what you pay for. You know, there's these issues come up all the time. In this very building, I was interviewed by Jason Farr on For the Record, and the theme was Hamilton roofing contractor arrested. He's arrested in Monday's paper. By the end of the week, I'm here being interviewed, giving homeowners tips and information. But again, that contractor that was arrested, he certainly didn't have a master building repair license. Absolutely not.
Well, you raise some tremendously interesting points, and I never even considered the insurance aspect, that if a tradesman comes in and injures himself, you are liable, I suppose, as the owner.
Well, when you had the driveway done, I remember this, I've been watching our past show, you mentioned on the driveway situation, I mean, again, and it worked out, again, with some it does, it's fine, maybe they had it, but you didn't ask for, and again, that's somewhat of a big project, the liability insurance or the WSIB, when they did the driveway.
Yeah, no, I didn't ask.
Yeah. And again, I mean,
No, these were folks that I knew, though, that had been in business for many years. I'd seen some of their work because
that's important.
I wanted to compare the kind of driveway we're doing.
So you went out and looked at other driveways.
I did.
I'm a big advocate with that, and I tell homeowners, doesn't matter if a contractor has 70 references, ask to go see some. Because again, anything can be fake. So again, even on my reference list, with permission from a past customer, I'll bring you to see a kitchen I've remodeled, because you need to look at it. So that was very, you know, you did your due
In fact, let me tell you, because we went out and looked, we were going to do a painted one, you know, the painted driveway,
the stamped, yes, yes.
But with the paint, we eliminated that because we saw some that were flaking after a few years.
They're a skating ring in the winter.
That's
you
right.
know that.
Exactly.
You go sliding down that
we
nice
stayed away
shoes.
From that.
No, good for you. But you knew well enough to go look. You want to see what it looks like.
Listen, Bobby, Mike Holmes is your hero.
Yes.
At least he's certainly a hero to you.
I have a lot of respect for him.
Why?
Because he's the real deal. I can't stand when people make fun of him. I mean, Larry, it's silly. I mean, people will say what they say about him, but lately what I've been hearing, oh, Bob, you know, he's not as tall as he looks like on TV because we kind of measured him off when he's standing beside a door. Or he's put on weight, you know, in his most recent series. No, but people will pick at anything. And it's funny, who are the people picking at him? They're unlicensed. Larry, I was at one of the big box stores locally some time ago, and I'm going to get a little more recognized in the city. Now, I'm at the big box store, and there's these two contractors. They're kind of eyeballing me. And as I walk by, they said, oh, are you the F&TV contractor? Hope I can say that on TV here.
Well, you can.
So, yeah, they said that. And I mean, no problem. I slowed down. I said, yes, you know, I'm Bob. And here again, this will show you the smart or the lack of intelligence in contractors. This is a true story. And we started chatting. Within 5 minutes, they're asking me for work. They're wanting the subcontract. They're wanting work. Within 10 minutes, they wanted to be on my TV show. But they don't remember they started the conversation with an insult.
Exactly.
We're not dealing with a smart bunch here. You know, for whatever reason, some are fine. My book is very clear on what today's contractor should be: a hybrid contractor. You need to have business understanding and infrastructure. You need to have trade knowledge. You need to be able to get out of the work boots, get in a suit, articulate with the homeowner, send them an email, attach the quote as a PDF. Homeowners are astounded when they ask, can you email us the quote? They're all hesitant. But yeah, that's what I always do. They say, most won't. Most contractors won't be caught dead on a keyboard. So you have to give the homeowners what they need.
Well, and let's remind people that you have written, co-written a book
yes.
Called A Contractor You Can Bring Home to Mom. And you've co-authored this with Trevor Bouchard.
Yes.
And who's Trevor?
Trevor Bouchard is a quality assurance provider. He's been in business for nearly a decade. We got involved because he has an ongoing relationship with the March of Dimes. And at that point, I got involved. We both decided this is the only book in Canada, I'm told by the Coles Indigo Chapters Group, that is 100% for charity. Every book that is sold, Coles at Eastgate Square, ordered online, the entire 1840 goes to the March of Dimes. I put out $1 and change out of my pocket, so does Trevor, to offset the printing costs.
Excellent.
I can't stand fake charities, so that's important. That's very important that the whole thing goes to them.
That's admirable. Listen, we've only got a couple of minutes left, and here we are now into the fall season.
Yes.
Winter's coming. Just some tips for what homeowners should be aware of and should do as they prepare for that season.
Very important. I'll start this with a rant towards homeowners. All the homeowners out there, not just myself, but yes, you remember me. Back April, May of this year, all the chimney quotes, all the eavesdrop quotes, all the quotes for caulking around the windows, doors, windows, tuck pointing, vinyl siding repairs. All of those people, for the last 10 years, they get those quotes in April and May. My office expedites them out. Come November, December, the call comes in. Bob, where are you? When can you start? So, well, I'm not starting. That's the problem. Homeowners don't realize. It's not just the contractor getting cold. It's the caulking getting cold. Caulking doesn't get applied below 5 degrees Celsius. Eavesdrops you should install too far after October. So very important at this point, walk around your home, make sure the envelope of your home is well sealed. Gas pipes, cable lines, any protrusions in and out through the brick block or stone or siding of the home. Bathroom exhaust fans, kitchen exhaust fans, windows, doors, caulk them, seal them. Attend to the roof before it starts snowing. Eavesdrops, you're almost at the cutoff. So very important. Walk around your own home. Climb the roof if you're safe. If you feel safe and comfortable on a ladder, climb the roof. The outside building envelope of the home, very important that you attend to it during the months of September, October. That's my tip for the season.
Well, it started with a rant and it finished with some very, very useful information.
They shouldn't procrastinate.
As well.
They shouldn't procrastinate.
You sound like my wife. Listen, another Hamiltonian, Bobby, by the name of Red Green, another handyman, said that if women don't find you handsome, they should find you handy.
One or the other.
You are both handsome and handy.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you again for having me.
Thanks for being on Hamilton Talks. We've been talking to Bobby Asadorian, Just ask Bob. He has a program on this station, and he is a premier contractor as well. Thanks for watching. Next week, we're going to be talking to John Ellison, rock sensation from Dundas. You don't want to miss that show.